Whenever you hear the word blockchain, it's almost impossible not to think about one thing: crypto. Bitcoin, Ethereum, those crazy market swings. And look, it's a fascinating world for sure. But here's the thing: that's kind of like looking at the entire internet and only seeing email. There is this whole other universe of blockchain technology that was built from the ground up specifically for business. It's not about speculation, it's about collaboration. And to really get a handle on that, we have to start by asking a totally different question.
So let's just put it right out there. What does it actually mean when a massive company like Walmart or a big bank says they're using blockchain? I mean, what problem are they trying to solve? Because it's definitely not the same problem crypto is trying to solve. The answer, it turns out, lies in a really fundamental shift in how the network itself is designed.
Okay, the core difference really just boils down to this. Public blockchains are, well, public. They're open to everyone. Anybody can join, anybody can participate. Think of it like a public park. Enterprise networks, on the other hand, are what we call permissioned. They're more like a private club. Every single member is known, they're identified, and they have very specific rules about what they're allowed to do. You see, this isn't about being anonymous. It's all about being accountable.
And this whole idea of a permissioned network, it's the absolute bedrock of enterprise blockchain. I mean, think about it. Businesses deal with super sensitive data all the time. Financial records, supply chain details, health information. They have to control who is on their network and exactly what they can see and do. This isn't some optional feature. It's literally the entire foundation for building trust between huge companies. So to get our heads around all this, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look beyond the world of crypto. Then, I'll introduce you to this really cool analogy called the Hyperledger greenhouse. After that, we'll meet the main technologies, check out the tools used to build with them, and finally, figure out how you pick the right tool for the right job. Sound good? Let's dive in.
All right, so keeping that huge difference between public and private networks in mind, we can really start our journey. So in this first part, we are officially leaving the crypto conversation behind. We're going to see how this technology is being used not for trading tokens, but for real-world, heavy-duty collaboration between companies you know and use every day.
So how in the world does the enterprise space build all these different kinds of solutions? Well, it turns out there's no one-size-fits-all blockchain. Instead, the project we're exploring today, Hyperledger, uses this fantastic mental model to explain its philosophy, the Hyperledger greenhouse. Try to think of it less like a single product and more like a carefully managed ecosystem, one that's designed to nurture a whole bunch of different specialized solutions.
This quote just nails it perfectly. A greenhouse doesn't grow just one type of plant, right? It provides this controlled, supportive environment where lots of different specialized plants can all thrive. Well, Hyperledger does the exact same thing, but for enterprise blockchain projects. It's not one product, it's an incubator for innovation. And this greenhouse is organized into three main areas. First up, you've got the frameworks. These are the big foundational platforms, the distributed ledger technologies. You can think of these as the actual plants in our greenhouse. Second, you have the tools. These are your shovels, your watering cans, all the equipment you need to build and maintain your solution. And third, the libraries. Think of these as the shared seeds or the common DNA that all the other projects can draw from.
Okay, so let's get to the most important part of the greenhouse, the plants themselves. These are the core frameworks. And just like any good gardener will tell you, there is no single best plant for every situation. The whole key here is picking the right plant for the job. You wouldn't grow a cactus in a swamp, right? Same idea. You wouldn't use a digital identity framework to build a supply chain. So let's meet some of the most popular plants in this collection. First up, we've got the biggest and probably the most famous plant in the entire greenhouse, Hyperledger Fabric. If Fabric was a person, it would be a general contractor. It's not built for just one specific task. Instead, it's incredibly modular and flexible, which means it can be used to build almost any kind of enterprise solution you can dream up.
Fabric's real superpower is its modularity. It's kind of like a plug-and-play system. You can swap in different components for things like consensus or identity management. But its most unique feature, the real game changer, is something called channels. This lets a group of businesses on the same network create private little mini networks just for transactions that only they can see. Imagine a supply chain with two fierce competitors, a logistics company and a retailer, all on one network. Well, with channels, the two competitors can do business privately, and the others won't see any of the details. That's exactly why Walmart uses it to trace food all the way from the farm to the store. Okay, now let's switch gears to a highly specialized plant. If Fabric is our general contractor, then Hyperledger Indy is the security guard. It does one job, and it does that one job exceptionally well, managing digital identity.
Indy is all about putting you in control of your own digital identity. It's built on two core ideas: decentralized identifiers, which are kind of like a phone number that you own and control forever, and verifiable credentials, which are just digital, secure versions of your driver's license or your diploma. But here's the magic trick. With a feature called Anon-Creds, you can prove something, like that you're over 21, without ever revealing your actual birth date. It's privacy-preserving verification, and it is a massive deal.
So, you've got the generalist, Fabric, and the specialist, Indy. And this table here kind of shows how the other big frameworks fit into the picture. Don't worry about memorizing all of it, just look at that top row. You've got Sawtooth, which is great for versatile, custom logic. Besu is for businesses that want to plug into the huge Ethereum ecosystem, and Iroha is laser-focused on being a simple, super secure way to manage digital assets. See? Every plant has its purpose. Okay, so we've met the plants, those core frameworks like Fabric and Indy. But any good gardener knows you can't just have plants. You need equipment to take care of them, to help them grow. And that's where the next part of our greenhouse comes in: the tools of the trade. These are the specialized utilities that help you build, test, and manage your solutions. One of the most critical tools in the shed is Hyperledger Caliper. You can think of this as the speedometer and the diagnostic kit for your blockchain. It answers that all-important business question: how fast does this thing actually go? It measures key performance metrics like transactions per second and response time, so developers can prove their network can handle a real-world workload. And check this out. Here's a tool that works hand in hand with a framework. We just talked about Indy being the ledger for identity, right? Well, think of Hyperledger Aries as the digital wallet and the messaging app for that identity. Aries gives you the software you need to actually request, store, and show your verifiable credentials to someone. And what's really cool is, while it works perfectly with Indy, it's designed to work with any ledger. That makes it kind of a universal key for digital trust. Okay, so we have our plants and we have our equipment. We get the individual pieces of the toolkit. Now for the final and maybe the most important step: knowing how to put it all together. This last section is all about strategy. How do you look at a business problem and then choose the right tools from the greenhouse to build the perfect solution? Honestly, the choice really just comes down to the specific problem you're trying to solve. If you're building, say, a complicated supply chain with a bunch of partners who need to share some data but keep other stuff private, well, Fabric's channels are your answer. If your entire project is about creating a self-sovereign identity system, then the purpose-built Indy is the obvious choice. Want to tap into the biggest blockchain developer community in the world? Besu is your bridge to Ethereum. And if your goal is just straightforward digital asset management, like for a central bank digital currency, then IRAHost's simplicity and security are absolutely perfect for the job. So when you put it all together, you can see Hyperledger isn't just one thing. It's a complete greenhouse, a powerful toolkit packed with specialized frameworks, tools, and libraries. It gives businesses the foundation they need to move past the hype and build real, trusted systems for working together. The question isn't really if these systems can be built anymore. It's about what we'll choose to build with them. So now that you have the toolkit, what trusted system would you build?